Hello and welcome to the Nashville Daily Podcast. I'm Stuart Deming.
And I'm Aaron Pennington.
A new Woodfired and Asian-inspired concept is announced for East Nashville.
New renderings and concepts announced for Eric Church's new downtown venue.
And how much would you pay to have a traffic-free commute into downtown Nashville? Will that be a possibility under the state's new infrastructure proposal?
We'll talk about all of this and more on Nashville Daily. Would you pay, well, the answer is yes, but how much would you pay for a downtown commute that is free of cars into downtown Nashville? Probably a lot. So we're going to be talking about that.
$4.
If it's possible. All right, $4 the highest bid right now that I've heard for it. But before we continue, we have to make sure that you know that if you are looking for a home to buy, or if you're selling your home, that you need to be thinking Brad. You can learn more about Brad at thinkbrad.com. Brad Reynolds is a real estate agent here in Nashville. He would love to help you get you into that next home or to help you sell your home. You can reach Brad at 615-856-3270, and you can go to his YouTube channel as well, which is at Think Brad.
So in East Nashville, there's a new Asian-inspired concept that's going to be opening in early 2023. Is it NOCO? Is that how you say it?
I believe so. N-O-K-O, NOCO.
And this is a wood-fired Asian-inspired restaurant. So yeah, that's going to be fun. It's going to be located near Rose Pepper Cantina in East Nashville.
Yeah, that is a very popular area for a lot of. That's where National Climb is, their east location. Rose Pepper, that's where Ugly Mugs is. So a lot of good places
Jenny's
over there.
Ice cream.
Yes. The wood-fired theme also continues into the beverage menu with offerings like Wagyu fat washed old fashions.
Yes, please.
So that is
yes, please.
Very interesting. A Japanese farmhouse is the inspiration for the design of the space. So this should be very, very cool to see.
All right. So, well, according to Fox 17, Eric Church's Tonk. Not Honky Tonk.
It does. It says Honk Tonk in there.
Honk Tonk. This is going to be opening in 2023. But the thing I wanted to highlight is this little photo inside of the new Honky Tonk, not Honk Tonk. It looks absolutely amazing. It's
very well designed,
super unique. And this is all of his concert posters for the different places that he's performed around the country.
So inside of this place, which is Chiefs, it will have a ticketed music venue.
Nice.
A barbecue restaurant.
Rodney Scott's James Beard award-winning chef from Charleston.
A rooftop bar called Hell of a Q.
That's a cool name.
A studio for live broadcast.
That's awesome.
The interior will be adorned with 3,000 concert posters. But this is pretty cool.
Maybe we can record a episode of Nashville Daily in there.
All I'm saying is this is the most unique honky tonk concept I've seen.
Or honk tonk.
Honk tonk I've seen in a while. Construction's already underway, but very, very cool to see all of this. But if you're not into all the honk tonks and everything, we've got you covered with Explorer's Nashville Tip of the Day.
For Explorer's Nashville Tip of the Day, it's a great day to take a hike at Two Rivers Park, which connects to the Shelby Bottom Greenway. It is an amazing place. I just hiked there the other day. I did 3-point-something miles the other day.
Nice.
And a nice, beautiful hike. And there's these like wooded trails that you can do where you're not on the concrete. So there's a lot of animals to see there. I saw, I think, 15 deer in my time hiking there. I also saw, I think, a possum in the distance. And so it's just a really cool place. It's located off of the Cumberland River, and so it's a fantastic place to go and enjoy this beautiful weather.
There you go. And that's Explorer's Nashville Tip of the Day.
Today's episode is in part brought to you by Bowtie Barber Club. If you're wanting to look fresh for all the holiday parties you're going to or for your New Year's celebration, which we'll be talking about that here soon and what's happening for New Year's in Nashville. That episode will be coming later this week, but you need to visit bowtiebarberclub.com to book your appointment for your beard trim and your haircut or your ears wax and nose wax as well.
Basically, you can do it all there. So visit them in Donaldson today. Tell them we sent you. All right. So yesterday
Or Friday.
So
Thursday and Friday.
Today's Monday.
Yep.
Friday and Thursday. So we started this on Thursday. We talked about the state's $26 billion investment into the infrastructure of the roadways and bridges, highways, all of that stuff throughout the state of Tennessee, addressing current, past, present, and future congestion issues. And future is more like, hey, we got to make sure we're keeping up with projected growth. And so, and we'll see if even this addresses the congestion correctly, which I think it will, but I think we're growing at such fast pace that can only last for so long, and it can only do so much. It's one of those things. Nashville can continue to open restaurants, but they're still all going to be full and reserved for these these peak times. So this is what's happening for the state. On Thursday, we gave kind of general overview of what was happening. Friday, we talked a lot about where the congested areas are in Nashville, those problem areas, and a few of the solutions that were brought to the table for some of the areas. Saw some pretty unique concepts. Today, we are going to talk about really this is a big part of Tennessee's plan, and this is public-private partnerships. The reason why public-private partnerships are a major part of this plan is funding, because as you saw on Thursday in kind of that general overview video, there's going to be no gas tax increase. There's going to be essentially
the state doesn't want to take on additional debt.
Yeah, no, we don't want to take on additional debt. We don't want to increase any taxes to do this. So how do we pay for $26 billion of funding, but at the same time, not take out the debt, not increase the taxes? The answer is public-private partnerships, or as you'll probably hear us abbreviate like they do in some of the PDFs that we see, P3s.
P3s.
Makes sense.
And this is something that you and I, over the last 3 years of having this show, have talked about in regards to traffic and the results and how to fix this.
Yes.
A great example that they're using in this PDF is in Dallas, Texas, and this was a P3 partnership in the area of Dallas in regards to the state of Texas, and this is choice lanes with over 100 miles in Dallas, Texas that utilize P3 to allow the state not to take any debt obligations.
Wow.
And this system works efficiently. It works well. There is some complaints to it. We're going to talk about choice lanes here in a few moments, but there is some complaints about the cost of it. To reduce the amount of traffic, more cars may take that, and there's reports that for you to go 5 to 8 miles, I may be wrong on that distance, it may cost you $15. But
it may be worth it, so you're not late, so you don't lose your job if you're late.
You can get home earlier to your family.
Yeah. So
is it worth that cost?
Yeah.
So we'll talk about the choice lanes here more in a second.
Very interesting. So this public-private partnership, this PDF, it says these partnerships allow Tennessee to better allocate the limited resources for transportation projects by leveraging private sector innovation and capital to design, build, finance, operate, and maintain choice lanes.
Yes.
And as you saw in the overview video on Thursday, it allows more of the dollars from the state to go into the rural areas, and a lot of the money from these public-private partnerships to go into the higher dollar operations, which would be these P3 or these choice lanes in these more urban areas like Nashville.
So one thing about And if you want to learn more about this, about the current situation that TDOT has, it's a very like silo approach, and you have to get this approval. It takes 15 years to deliver an estimated project.
Woo.
But with P3s, they can reduce that time from 15 years to 5 years. And we'll show this little graph real quick. This is the P3 process. This has planning and conceptual design, advertising and bidding, final design and construction drawings. But while that's happening, construction is started. That's one thing that's really great, because initially you would have to have the final design and construction drawings, and then you would start construction.
Yeah, and everything paid for.
Yes, everything paid for up front. And now operations and maintenance. And that's the cool thing about the public-private partnerships, is some of that maintenance cost, especially for the choice lanes, will go towards the private vendors instead of the state.
So let's talk about choice lanes. Choice lanes are, you've heard them as express lanes, reversible lanes, HOV lanes, high occupancy toll lanes. But I guess they're calling them choice lanes. They say here in the PDF, choice lanes use one or more operational strategies to increase vehicle throughput. So they're saying, it could be any of these options that we've seen in other cities. It's to increase vehicle throughput, travel speeds, and travel reliability when compared to general use lanes operating in the same corridors during periods of high demand. Choice lanes are implemented. I wonder if like that $15 thing, it's at its peak during the peak rush hours. It's at $15 and maybe $5 in the non. So maybe it has variable pricing in there, which is very interesting.
I know there's somebody from Dallas that listens to this podcast almost daily, and they were able to give us some insight a couple months ago into this. So I do believe the price is structured on how many
demand
on
or
how much
congestion.
Yes.
Yeah, they say choice lanes allow motorists to have an option on congested urban highways to provide reliable trip times. These new lanes typically use pricing, vehicle eligibility, and or access control to achieve better operational performance than general purpose lanes.
So here's a few examples of choice lanes. So you have the HOV lanes, high occupancy vehicle. So this is more of your buses or 2 or more passengers. Another example,
which is it's not
enforced here
for Nashville
or in Tennessee in general. Another one is high occupancy toll. So this is your general toll lane or a hot lane. And reversible lanes, this is courtesy of the Georgia Department of Transportation, and that they have this all throughout Atlanta.
I am willing to go on a limb and say that these reversible lanes, which I don't know why they're called reversible lanes, but
I don't know.
Essentially, what I've seen driving throughout Atlanta is you're driving on the interstate, and then all of a sudden it says expressway, and it just dips out and goes a totally different direction.
Yep, and it goes
it's like
its
around
the city.
Yeah,
yep.
and that's what I've seen. So I'm not sure why it's called reversible lanes, but I would say that's probably the most effective approach. It's probably also the most expensive approach.
Yes, but if it's a private partnership, it makes sense. But here's a great map of where choice lanes are happening throughout the United States.
Oh, very interesting.
And I believe, if I correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, this Miami-Dade up to Tallahassee up here, I may have gotten that wrong on the states. Basically, Daytona, you have Orlando and everything. That's where they're going to be building some of the high-speed train lines.
Oh, very interesting.
Yeah.
So they say in here, of all the operational strategies deployed on choice lanes, pricing the lanes provides the best safeguard against increasing congestion in the managed lanes as congestions continue to escalate. Essentially, and I saw this on another part of a different PDF, basically what the choice lane will do is that it allows you to have essentially a guaranteed minimum speed is what they said.
Yep.
And so they may, if they see too many people are taking it, increase the price.
Yeah.
So that you have a guaranteed minimum speed. They say while other choice lane strategies can improve efficiency, only pricing can be adjusted to keep pace with changing traffic volumes and guarantee travel reliability. Pricing the lanes also has the benefit of generating an income stream to help pay for the ongoing operation and maintenance of the lanes. There are currently over 60 priced managed facilities implemented in more than a dozen urban areas across the United States. The benefits that TDOT lists for choice lanes. TDOT can control the pricing policy and who has to pay for the lanes.
Interesting.
Only users of the lanes have to pay to benefit from them.
Mm-hmm.
Price can be increased and decreased as congestion requires to maintain reliability. Revenue will be generated by the lanes to help offset their costs.
So let's just talk about it. Do you think choice lanes are something that can fix Nashville's congestion? If it's enforced right.
If it's, so Nashville has so much congestion that choice lanes, I think, can do one major thing that a lot of Nashvillians have wanted to do, because Nashville is such a big transportation hub across the southeast United States for commercial vehicles. So one of the things that I can see it do is just provide another option against commercial vehicle travels. And I think they will eliminate the congestion for those who want it eliminated. I know that sounds so cheesy, but I don't think it will eliminate it for all. I don't think this is the only option to eliminate congestion, but I do think it is a solution. There are people out there who would say, finally, a solution, not the solution, but a solution to, give the, without a choice lane, there's no option for them getting into work at a faster time if they wanted to. That's why it's essentially called a choice lane. You can make that choice whether to go in it or not. Maybe there's some days you can afford to take your time and just ride it out. Other days you may want to pay $20 to make sure that you get to downtown in a certain amount of time. Now, space-wise, that's the interesting part to me. If they have these essentially side lanes that just kind of bypass everything,
where are they going to put it?
I'm having a very hard time figuring out where those would go. Mm-hmm. But if they're raised, I think it can be done. But that's super expensive, super time consuming. But again, I don't know how an HOV lane either will solve the problem, because then you're just essentially using, I don't know if our roads can go wide enough to utilize that correctly.
Yeah, it's interesting because the whole space concept in Nashville, it's very limited, and it costs a lot of money. And if the state wants easement rights, that's going to cost a ton of money for the private partners that are involved in this.
Yeah.
Hypothetically, I would pay to get downtown faster, depending on the situation and circumstances. If I had a very important meeting downtown and I had to be there at 9 a.m. sharp, I would definitely pay for something like that. But
sure.
If I was just going downtown in general,
right,
I would not pay a lick for it.
Right. It's one of those things, at least then there would be a choice. But again, how long would that take to make happen? Is that going to be, they're saying that they're going to increase these project times from 15 years to 5 years. Does that mean every project is done in 5 years? I don't think so. Mm-hmm. So it may be 10 to 15 years before we see this end up being a solution where you can then hit the road.
Yeah, and by then the congestion's going to be so bad that you're going to regret even leaving your house.
By then, you're in another city, or you're in a home way out of the city that you got from Brad Reynolds.
And you have very fast internet.
There you go. All right, let us know. What do you think of these choice lanes? What do you think of the public-private partnerships? What do you think of the increased project timelines? Are they realistic? Would you pay to travel faster into downtown Nashville with the choice lane? Let us know in the comments, and we will see you tomorrow. Thank you for listening to Nashville Daily.
To learn more about today's episode, visit NashvilleDailyPodcast.com. And to stay connected, head to our Discord, and you can find the link at NashvilleDailyPodcast.com/connect. Nashville Daily is now offering tours. If you would like to take a tour of downtown Nashville, head to the link in the show notes or find out more details at NashvilleDailyPodcast.com.
Nashville Daily Podcast is an Explore.Nash production, copyright 2022.